After 22 months of isolation, filled with concerns about the coronavirus pandemic, it was great to be back on the road less traveled. And what better way to end that drought than with a visit to Sicily? While the obvious draw to this corner of the world is the food, there were lots of surprises and pleasant encounters to enhance the overall experience and make it truly memorable. How to begin? We booked both the pre- and post-trips, which were in the southern part of Italy. The pre-trip was located in the Puglia region, more commonly known as the heel to Italy's boot. Our first stop, Matera, truly a feast for the eyes of those who appreciate a town steeped in history. Our accommodation was converted from a room carved out of the hillside, atmospheric to say the least, and the view at night from the balcony was worth repeated looks. A bus trip to the town of Alberobello revealed buildings unique to this part of the world, the Trulli, or conical-roofed stone dwellings. Afterwards, we paid a visit to a family business that produces olive oil in order to sample the various types, and while there, got a glimpse of an olive tree over 1,400 years old. In Lecce, we got a close-up view of the handcrafted papier-mâché figures created by artisan Claudia Rizzo. The detail in those papier-mâché figures was truly amazing. Of particular interest during our visit was the number of weddings we encountered when visiting the cathedrals, weddings that had been put on hold during the pandemic. With our guide Angelo clutching his much-needed glass of wine at the farewell dinner, we said goodbye and flew to Palermo to start our Sicily adventure. We didn't stay in Palermo itself, but rather in the more picturesque town of Cefalo, situated along the coast just outside of Palermo. Several of those in our group hiked up the 900-foot high cliffs for a spectacular vista of the seaside community. While in the town, we had a close-up and personal interaction with two sons of former members of Sicily's mafia. We spent the next day in Palermo and visited a theater where marionette productions are performed. The wealth of various and delicious dishes of food remained constant throughout our journey, with the only challenge being finding ways to make room in our stomachs for all that scrumptious food. Cannolo for dessert, with its fresh ricotta filling, could only be challenged by the various flavors of gelato, a universal favorite. For one meal, we even got to create and bake our very own pizza. And at one home-hosted luncheon, we had our own private concert by the homeowner.
Mai nato sole, più belle me, oh sole mio, s'affronta a te, oh sole mio, sto pronto a te, sto pronto a te.
Resuming our learning and discovery pursuits, we visited the farm of a young family shown here on the left with our intrepid group of travelers. And then it was off to the town of Modica for a wild ride along the narrow streets in a caravan of Fiat 500s. I'm happy to report that no major injuries resulted from the battle to see who got to ride in the bright pink Fiat. Even our guide Dario got into the spirit of the adventure. One interesting excursion on our itinerary was a stop at a semi-working salt mine in the Trapani province that dates back 3,000 years to the time of the Phoenicians. Ponds of salt water dry in the hot sun, leaving behind crystals of salt, which are then collected and shipped. A few of our unsuspecting travelers soon found themselves behind a shovel, toiling away to pile up the almost dry salt. Local guides were used to escort us around the most interesting parts of each town, and one of those guides entertained us with a morning serenade.
Okay, thank you. My pleasure. Thank you for being here, my pioneer.
One of the more interesting pieces of art we viewed was the bronze sculpture referred to as the Dancing Satyr. It is located in Mazzara del Vaio and was found submerged off the southwest coast of Sicily in 1998. Our final days on Sicily were spent in the shadow of Mount Etna, which had erupted just 5 days before our visit. Black ash covered the roads and roofs, but we were able to get close enough to view the barren landscape resulting from several past eruptions. For the post-trip, we returned to Italy, but this time on the west coast. Our oat guide here was Matthew, and one of the more interesting places we visited was the Pediagrada Church, housed in a cave next to the ocean. It is filled with statues carved by Angelo Barone toward the end of 1800. When he died, his son Alfonso continued the work begun by his father for another 40 years. In the nearby town of Pizzo, we sampled a unique gelato delight, gelato filled with a hard chocolate filling, and finished just in time to watch the sunset from a nearby vista. In Calabria, we were able to view the rice bronzes, 2 full-size Greek statues from 5 centuries before Christ, which were found in the sea off southern Italy in 1972. One of our last stops was to visit the Greek temples of Paestum in the Salerno province of Italy. The temples date from the 4th and 5th centuries BC and are in an excellent state of preservation. And at one of our last dinners, we were treated to another musical performance. So, was this everything? Hardly. It sometimes takes weeks and months to fully digest and appreciate all the sights, sounds, and of course, culinary delights we enjoyed during this multi-week adventure. And even after some time has passed, little memories return at the oddest times to refresh our recollections. That said, we can't wait to once again return to the road less traveled and have another opportunity to delve into the learning and discovery that goes with visiting another part of the world. And so, fellow travelers, wishing you all happy journeys.